So Marlène, the first question is about South Africa. Anyone who traveled to South Africa has a feeling of violence. Do you think it had an influence on you, South Africa?
Well, I think anyone's background, where they're born, have an influence on their life. It doesn't explain everything about the work because South Africa is a violent place and it's a warm place. But some people make very different art. So,
For sure.
so I've always been interested, between how much is your biography of influence on the work itself. And I think maybe that is for others to know. Yeah, but as I said, I'm sure it has some influence, absolutely. But I just mean it doesn't explain like everything.
Oh, for sure. That's why I wanted to ask you, in fact.
Yeah.
Another question is about visiting the exhibition. For me, there's two kinds of art. One is real masterpieces like White Snow and The New Generation, which are very sophisticated work, which are between abstraction and figuration. And there's another kind of work, which is kind of result of performance, in a way. So what do you think about that? Do you qualify two type of paintings or not at all?
Yeah, I qualify quite even more than two types, you could almost say. That is a quality of the work. Some people don't like that at all because there's a lot of variation in approach. But some similarities you don't see immediately. For example, Betrayal, that group of big heads, the drawings, with the watercolor and the ink, ink really. There is also a performance element which you don't see when you look at it because the illusionistic aspect takes over and you see these faces and the different expressions. But it's also made by throwing the ink. It's not brushed in, you throw the ink. So there's a similar physicality and performance aspect in those works too. But in some cases it's much more clearer so than in other cases. For example, indeed the three long tall works, the last ones, there it's very clear that there's little of those illusionistic aspects.
Yes.
They are really much more performative and gestural-like. But so there's definitely a difference between some works also in narrative and perspective, like The Visitor. It's a more simple painting. In perspective, there's the different woman, they're looking in, towards that, and then a work like a painting needs a wall to object to. There, it's much more about what is a painting, the flatness and the wall aspect. So it's true that there's definitely.
But how do you decide on what direction you will go?
Yeah, but this is the thing of these big shows, and the thing of the time aspect, that there's so much time in between, because actually, it depends on what period. If someone writes a book or makes a film, like say Kubrick, you have Space Odyssey, you have Barry Lyndon, so in film and also with books, you have these differences, so you won't mix them together. In painting, they can stand alone, but at the same time, they are related to the period when they were made. So the decisions are made in that specific time with the specific context, yes, and things that relate to it. So it's difficult to talk about my work just in general.
Yeah.
There is, as I say, things that come back but the decisions are made very much in the context of a specific period and things that happen, and I just want to say also for this exhibition, because there's this visitor's guide. Don't know if you've got one, the visitor's guide, but it was the first time that of all the paintings in the exhibition, in the catalog, the people write about specific works, but that something was written and anecdotes and background of every painting.
You have a French name.
Yeah, but have you seen his film? Yeah, you see, you must see, because this is also this old quote of mine that I wrote in the 90s or what because I always feel very embarrassed that, with the French name and I can't speak French. So,
and your mother was dreaming of you to be in Paris, no? I saw that in the movie.
Oh, you did see it? Yeah. Okay, because all I'm trying to say is so that aspect also when we were young in South Africa, I don't come from a art historical background. My father was a father, my mother was a father, was a farmer also. But so, Dumas, we knew about Alexander Dumas. And because I had this sort of frizzy hair, I thought, I look like Alexander Dumas.
Ah, that's funny.
And so that was the only Dumas we knew of. And I didn't know that the whole, of the French, that is quite a common name. Same with my name Marlene. We said Marlene, but then when I came to Europe, they said Marlene, Marlene Dietrich. So all I'm trying to say, so, yeah. So
there's a fantasy about France. I try to push.
Okay. Oh, but I like all the French writers, I have to admit. Okay, I'll just do to end off with this. When you look at in the Great Men series, then for example, Jean Genet is in there. I love to quote him because he says wonderful things that I can relate to. I saw a beautiful interview with him once, which I still think if I can do it like that, when he speaks to the interviewer, I say, okay, what do you think? And so after that, I thought if I could do it like that, have a dialogue. I'm just warming up, it's okay.
Merci beaucoup.
Okay.
Thank you.